Welcome back. So let's take a look at Chapter 34 assignment that we have due. The first thing I want to point out to you is in your courses under the Chapter 34, if we scroll way down to the assignment, there's this suggestions for assignment. Let's click in here. And first, this is not the homework, and I get that. This is using the different database, but this is something very similar to what you're going to be doing in the assignment. And the reason why I want to point this out is this is a decent looking interface. And you can definitely create your own interface if you would like to and go with that. Or you can simply follow what we have here. If you follow what we have here, then you're going to have a well-defined assignment for me to grade. I really quickly want to show you another student's example of this and just kind of give you a quick glimpse of a different way to do it, but definitely not the way you have to do it. It's just this student definitely went all out and really created a really nice interface and made it very possible to do all the things I wanted to see in the homework, which is to be able to do this, and I believe this is one of the VINs, so we can run this, and there's the results right here. In fact, it was interesting is I felt like the student did such a great job up here. I was a little let down with the result tab. But again, plenty good. You can do it this way if you want. This is definitely much more complex, or as simple as this suggestion we have here. Now, with that being said, let's go back here. Let's close this out. And let's talk about a few of the components that you're going to need to make sure you do when dealing with this homework. So let's close all of those. I already have a Java FX application that I've started. I called it last assignment. There we go. For some reason, I didn't want to open. And here is the basis of your assignment. Keep referring back. Especially if you are going to use the suggestion here, keep referring back to this. I'm going to put this a little bit to the side so we can bring this up and use this as a nice template to come in here. So one of the things you're going to want to do right away is in here you're going to want to build up your UI. So build up the UI and get yourself the UI looking like you want it to. If this is the way you're going to do it, then get it to look like this with your checkboxes and your where label with your text field here and your button, and then this is where you're going to output all your information. What I did like about this assignment or this example is they definitely made it to where you could select some columns and hit execute without a where statement and get a dump of the data without the where statement. Over here, this is with them putting in the city equals Tampa. In our case, it would be something like VIN equals the VIN number. All right, so once you have done that, then you're also going to want to do a couple of other things. Now, maybe you want to initialize your DB, right? A lot of applications that know that they're going to use the DB like to initialize their database at the start. I am actually someone that does not like to do it that way. I don't like to initialize the database until I'm ready to use it. So you want to make sure you set up your listener on the button push, right? That's going to be your own function. And in this function, if you haven't initialized your database, this is where you would definitely do it. Now remember, if you're doing the initialize in your button push, you may run into some problems if someone tries to use this application a couple of times. So that's, again, another reason why a lot of people will go ahead and initialize the DB, and that way they're only doing it once. And if they did that, then they might come down here and make a function. And in this, they're going to create the connection as well as set up the statement. Now, one of the big pieces of the button push is you're going to create the select statement. However, the hardest part probably of this is you're actually letting the customer say what columns they want to see in their data. So remember, typically we would see something like select star from table where column equals data, right? So the first thing instead of that, we're going to need to build the select part. We want to replace the star with specific columns. To do that, one way to do it is to go through and check what boxes were picked, and then add that to the like say a string, right? So maybe we say string my string equals this at first, and then we go into a for loop, looking at the different checkboxes, or maybe we just check each checkbox separately, and we want to say, as we do those, if something is checked, then we would say my string equals my string plus, add a comma, right? Or actually, what we'll do in this case, it's easier is to go then, right? Comma. So here we have, we're doing this, and so we're saying, oh, so let's say if the then check box is checked, we're going to add it. But then we're going to also do, again, we can do other checkboxes. But the point of what I'm going with this is, as you're adding this statement up, if you're using a for statement, if you're doing it one at a time, either way, I'm not going to really hold you against it either way. So at some point, though, your my string will look like field 1, field 2, field 3. The point that I'm trying to say here is the end will always have an extra comma. So make sure you remove it. So after you do your build-up, always remove last char, which will get rid of that comma. Okay? Once you've done that, now you can say something as simple as my full SQL statement equals select space plus my str plus where, and again the text field should have where, and this is up to you. Like in this example, they actually have to say city equals Tampa, which kind of makes sense. And I think that's the way you have to do it. Yeah. So this is you actually putting the where clause. So you're going to say where and you know, it'd be something like where text, I think it's get text, right? Plus. So you're going to build up this SQL statement that you are then going to execute SQL statement. From there, iterate through the records. Oh, nope, before we do that, we want to check to see if there is even any records. So, yeah. So we want to check to see if there are any records. If not, show none found or not found. If there are some, then you want to iterate through the records and output all the data to like a text field or a label field, however you want to do it. Output all data to a text field. Like in this example where they've outputted all the data. That is the homework. I know, again, I didn't give you a lot of the way to do it. I didn't actually type in any real code because I want to make sure that you understand how to do these things. If you have any issues, I'm going to definitely be checking my inbox very frequently. So make sure you shoot some messages over to me so I can answer questions and make sure you're on track. Just to remind everyone that the homework is due sooner than it normally is in this week because it is the last week and us instructors have to get final grades in sooner. So that's why this is due sooner. I do appreciate everyone and thank you for coming to the semester. It's been a great semester and I look forward to hopefully seeing you in other classes. Thanks.